Hey everybody, welcome to the Addiction Unlimited podcast, where you get to learn everything you want to know about addiction and recovery. I'm your host, Angela Pugh, co-founder of Kansas City Recovery, life coach, and recovering alcoholic. To learn more about me, you can listen to episode 0 on your podcast app or find us on the web at addictionunlimited.com. Hey everybody, welcome to the Addiction Unlimited podcast. I'm your host, Angela Pugh. Thank you for hanging out with me today and listening to the pod. Of course, I appreciate that. I want to get into a few different things today. Our topic is actually really great. We're going to talk about how to say I'm sorry, right? How to make amends. Even I do this work a lot with couples. You know, I coach people. Many of you know I'm not just a coach with addiction and recovery. I'm a life coach that happens to also be a recovering alcoholic. So I work with a lot of people who have all different kinds of problems. And I do a lot of coaching with couples with communication and conflict resolution because that's something that we all struggle with. And it's actually really, really fun work. And it helps people have these great breakthroughs and get closer to one another and certainly fight less, right? But anyway, so our actual topic is going to be how to say I'm sorry, how to make amends to the people that we've hurt in whatever capacity that might be. Before that, I want to announce a couple of things. So one is I got invited to be a speaker. I know many of my listeners are people that also work in the addiction recovery industry. And I'm so super stoked. I got asked to be a speaker this year at an addiction conference that I have gone to almost every year from the beginning of my career. Like, it's incredible. It's a huge conference. It's beautifully done. It's called Moments of Change. It's in Palm Beach every year, usually September. This year, it's the very end of September and the first couple days of October. And I got asked to speak. And you guys, this is such a huge thing for me because it's kind of a dream that I've always had to speak at this conference. And I'm so honored that I'm getting the opportunity. And it's such sort of a milestone in my career to even be considered to speak at something like this. So I'm super excited about that. I will put something up on the website about that conference. I'm also going to be doing live podcasting from there. And I think that's going to be amazing. I've done that a couple of times in some smaller venues, smaller events. So it'll be really awesome to see how that goes. I'll probably do some Facebook Live stuff and things like that. If you guys want to join me and check that out, I will keep you posted as all of those details become more clear to me even. And as I know more about what we're doing, I'll definitely let you guys know. But that was one of the things I wanted to tell you about. The other thing I wanted to talk about that really is completely off topic, it just has me really irritated and perplexed, is I just had an issue with an airline, right? And last week, I went to Colorado. My baby brother lives in Colorado, and he and his wife just recently had their first baby, right? So this is a hugely exciting thing in my family, and he is the baby, so this will be the last of the babies. And so me and my mom flew out to Colorado to spend some time with my brother and sister-in-law and my brand new baby nephew. And we had an incredible time. We really did, of course. It was amazing. We just got to hang out with them and connect and love on the baby, and it was awesome. The unfortunate thing happened at the very end, and we were supposed to fly back on Friday night, really late Friday night, because we wanted to maximize our time there. So our plane didn't even leave until 9:50 p.m. And we are sitting in my brother's house, waiting for time to go. Of course, we have a rental car to return, and my dog, Henry, was with me. And I get a text message from the airline saying our flight has been delayed. So our flight was supposed to leave at 9:50. The first text message came in and said that it had been delayed to 10:40. So I'm like, okay, that kind of sucks because obviously we're getting back into Kansas City super late at that point. And I had clients and stuff booked all day Saturday. So I was already going into an exhausted Saturday, which is fine, right? It's just, that's how things go. So It got delayed from 9:50 to 10:40. Well, a little while later, we get another text alert saying it's been delayed again till midnight. And a little while after that, I go on the Southwest app and thought, you know what? I want to just check. I just want to double check and see if they have anything on there about what's going on. What is the problem? Why is our flight being delayed? Because it was such a late flight. And I got on the Southwest app and it said it was delayed till 12:20. So what had originally, the original delay was only 50 minutes, not a huge deal. We'd love to have 50 extra minutes with my brother and his wife and the baby. That wasn't a huge deal. But now we're talking 12:20 a.m. I'm not even going to get home in Kansas City until probably 4 a.m. at that point. And I had appointments starting at 8 a.m. So I lay down on the couch with Henry and we take a nap, right? Like I'm tired. It's been a long week. We lay down and go to sleep. Next thing I know, I'm waking up to my mom going, Angela, they just told me we missed our flight. And I was like, what are you talking about? Did I sleep all night? Like, what happened? Well, Southwest moved our flight back to its original time at 9:50. And of course, we weren't at the airport. They text us an hour in advance saying, now your flight is back to its regular time. But an hour in advance, obviously, we don't have time to get to the airport by then. I had a rental car to return. When you have a rental car, you have to stop at the gas station and fill it up before you return it. You take it back to the rental car place. Then you have to get on a shuttle that drives you over to the airport. So there was no way with 1 hour, we were 40 minutes from the airport. So to be honest with you, the original delays didn't bother me that much. I mean, many of you guys know I have traveled a ton the last many, many years, 8 and 9 years. I have traveled pretty consistently. I was a Southwest A-list member. I traveled so much, right? So the delays, I understand that stuff happens. Like I literally have experienced every crazy thing you can experience almost with flying because I fly so much. I wasn't irritated with that. The part that irritated me really was how the customer service lady handled it when I called, right? So I call and I'm like, what's going on? Did this in fact happen? Because now I'm really confused. And you guys, I was blown away. She literally kind of acted like it was our fault. She's like, well, it's your responsibility to still be at the airport for your scheduled flight. And I said, well, to sit there for 3-4 hours, not having any idea when our flight is actually going to take off, like that doesn't make sense. So now I'm sitting in a position, it's 10 o'clock at night. We have nowhere to sleep, right? Because obviously we checked out of our hotel, so we have nowhere to sleep. So I'm going to have to find somewhere to sleep late at night and pay that expense. Now I'm going to have an extra night of rental car expense. Additionally, my dog was with me. I had no dog food for him for another day. I took exactly enough dog food for the amount of meals he would need. And he had eaten his last meal that night because we were leaving that night. Even on top of that, my dog has a disease. He's sick. So he has special dietary needs and he gets special food ordered, like a food delivery service for dogs, right? They're fantastic, by the way. They're called MyOllie, MyOllie.com, MyOllie.com. Phenomenal. My dog has never been better. He's been sick his whole life. He's never been better since we're on this food. So his food gets delivered in boxes, packaged in dry ice because all the food is frozen and they send several weeks of food at a time, right? So his delivery was coming in also, and it was supposed to be delivered Saturday. It showed up a day early, so it literally had been sitting outside my door since sometime Friday afternoon, and now I'm finding out I have to spend another night in Colorado. And so, it was just this domino effect of all the other things that it was affecting, and this customer service person acting like it was my fault. She's like, well, it doesn't matter what the text messages say. It's your responsibility to be there for your regularly scheduled flight because you never know when that delay is going to be taken away and it's going to be moved back to its regular time. And I was like, I'm not new, lady. I've been traveling a ton for a decade. I'm not new, and never a single time has anyone ever told me if my flight was delayed, I needed to be there for the regularly scheduled flight. Never once have I heard that. In any airport, in any flight delay situation, I've never been told that, ever. And she really was just kind of a jerk. And she switched our flight to the next flight the next morning, which I definitely appreciate that. And she checked us in. At no point did she apologize for the mistake, because this was a mistake on Southwest Airlines' part. This was not our mistake. All we were doing was sitting there, virtually homeless, with all of our bags and my dog waiting to go get on an airplane. That's all we were doing. She never at any point offered to get us a hotel room because it was their mistake. She never offered any kind of, even a discount on a hotel room. Not even let me see if I can call one of the airport hotels and get you guys a room. Because I told her we had nowhere to sleep. I told her I had no dog food and my dog was with us. She did not care at all. And honestly, the disappointment for me is that I have flown exclusively Southwest for many years, and I feel like I don't want to fly Southwest anymore. I feel like the way she handled this situation has grossed me out to a point that I don't even want to fly Southwest anymore at all. And it got me wondering, is this really happening a lot? Is everybody having issues like this? Are they treating people really crappy all over the place? And I've just been pretty lucky. I'm a very low maintenance traveler. I have TSA pre-check. I know how to pack. I get right through security. I sit down. I'm very small. I don't take up any room. I don't ask for anything. I get through my flight. I get off the airplane. I'm kind of a dream passenger, honestly. I don't make a noise. I don't ask for anything. I'm not a problem. I'm exactly who they want. And I travel like a crazy person. So you'd think that they would want to be a little kinder and try to mend that relationship when they clearly are the ones that made the mistake. So I just want to hear from you guys, honestly. Those of you that are in the Facebook group, you can comment in there and tell me about some of the issues that you've had, because I'm really irritated by this. And I don't know if this is how it's really going with every airline, because literally I have flown almost exclusively Southwest Airlines for years and years and years. It's been a rare occasion that I have flown on another airline, and that's only if someone else was booking my travel and they got another airline, because Southwest has always been my first choice. But not anymore, my friends. I will not do it again. I know many years ago, I went on a cruise and I flew US Air and they lost my bag and I was stranded in the middle of the Caribbean in winter clothes from Kansas City in the middle of the Caribbean with no luggage, literally had no bras, no underwear, nothing. And I've never flown US Air again or any of their airlines because they were pretty crappy, right? They didn't offer to help me. I was taking my niece on this cruise to celebrate my sobriety birthday in January, and they really handled it poorly. Same kind of thing, no apology, didn't offer to get us a voucher to get more clothes or anything. We literally were in sweaters and jeans in the middle of the Caribbean. Then they said they would send our luggage to our first island stop on the cruise, and they sent it to the wrong island. So we had an additional day with no clothes. So when we got to our very first stop, I had to go into that town and I had to buy us everything. I spent a good piece of our vacation budget just buying us clothes and underwear and bathing suits just to get through a couple of days. And the cruise line was amazing. We were on Carnival and they were freaking fantastic. And they gave us vouchers to get sundresses and flip-flops so we weren't stuck in these clothes. But the airline didn't do anything. They weren't helpful. They didn't communicate. And then I had to fight for 9 months. I had to fight with them to get reimbursed for all the money that I had to spend that originally I wanted to spend on my niece, So anyway, that was many years ago, so I've never flown them again. So I'm just curious if this is really happening. For those of you that are traveling, I really would love to hear from you. So again, if you're in the Facebook group, comment on there. I'd love to see what you have to say. You can email me, hello@angelapugh.com, or any of my Facebooks, any of my Instagrams. I know you guys kind of find me all over the place, and I love that. So That is my sadness and disappointment for the week. Like, I just was so disappointed in Southwest and how that customer service person handled the whole situation. It was really sad to me. And in a certain way, I feel like I'm going through a breakup. Because now I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Who else am I going to fly? I do like Delta. I guess maybe I'll just switch over to Delta. But I'd love to hear from you guys and what your experiences are. And now, since that rant is over, let's move on to our topic. What do you say? Let's dive into this, how to say I'm sorry or how to make amends. And this is a topic I get a lot. And sometimes I even get it from families, right? Because they know that making amends is a part of the 12-step programs. And a lot of times I get families that are like, so when do we get to the part where they make apologies? And I'm like, well, it's not for a long time, so don't get too focused on that. Because amends is a long way down the road in the steps. It's not something we do quickly. You know, the steps are in the order that they are in for a reason. And it is very strategic, the process. And by the time you get to the step of making amends, you are much stronger than when you started. You're much more stable than when you started. And you're just in a really good, healthy place to make those amends. And that's why they are toward the end of the process, right? Because we have a lot of growing up to do, and we've got to get really comfortable and build up that strength to do that, because those are hard conversations. Saying I'm sorry is never an easy thing, you know, especially in couples too. Like, this is a hard thing. And I'm always surprised when I hear people talk about their spouses never apologize. They never say they're sorry. Or even, you know, people themselves. Like, I have clients that'll sit in my office and be like, no, I never say I'm sorry, because they have so much sort of resentment toward their partner for 1,000 other things that they just are being stubborn and refuse to budge in that way. So there's no doubt that saying I'm sorry can be really difficult. And some people also believe that to apologize is admitting you're wrong, or it means you've lost the argument. And first of all, if your goal is to win an argument, then you're already on the wrong path, and you may want to reconsider. I do a whole series about conflict resolution and how to fight fair. And if all you want to do is win an argument, you're doing it way wrong, and you're never going to get anywhere. You know, all you're going to do is create more conflict and hurt your partner more and build more resentment. So what you want to do in an argument of any sort really is remember that you're attacking the issue. You're not attacking your partner. You and whoever you're arguing with do not become enemies, right? You are on the same team attacking an issue. So remember that you're on the same team. But apologizing really is not about being right or wrong. You know, making amends, honestly, is a way to be respectful. And it's also just taking responsibility for your part. You know, there's no situation happens 100% the fault of one person, right? We all play a role. So even if you feel like you've been in a situation and 5 other people did things quote unquote wrong and they wronged you, even if you're feeling all of that, I bet you if you look really closely, you can figure out a spot where you didn't handle things perfectly yourself, right? There's always something to make an amends for. And really what you're doing is you're being respectful and you're offering validation to the other person, you know, and it makes a really difficult conversation much easier, because anytime you're willing to take responsibility for your part, people really honor and respect that. That's just the truth. It throws everybody off guard because they're not used to getting amends. They're really not. So when you can take a minute and really just honor and respect somebody and give them that validation of saying, you know what, I'm really sorry I said it like that. I shouldn't have said it like that. Or any number of things. It just makes it easier to get through. And again, just to be clear, any kind of conflict or argument or mistake is never entirely the fault of one person. Everybody's kind of in it together. We create friction together. We create discomfort, sometimes intentionally, sometimes unintentionally. But if your view is that everybody else is wrong and you are always right, then we've got a lot of work to do. But it's not that everybody's wrong. If you're trapped in that victim mindset, remember a few episodes ago, we talked about being in the victim mindset. If you believe everything's happening to you, and I can't believe they did this to me, I can't believe they talked to me like that, that's not a great spot to be in, because I guarantee you, if you look at it, you played a part in that too. When you're looking at a situation that you want to make amends for, whether it's something you've done or an argument you've had, whatever the thing is, I always first recognize what is my part. Okay, so look at the big picture and figure out, what is your part in this? What is your part in the argument? What is your part in the situation? For me, oftentimes, maybe it is like, I'm not a big scream and yell person. I can raise my voice and I can get very short and condescending. I can definitely be condescending. If somebody's coming at me with something and I try to be reasonable and they're being so unreasonable that it just doesn't make sense to me, then I don't want to be a part of that conversation anymore. And if you guys did the color code test, last week's episode was the color code test, which was amazing. I'm a red, and that's just exactly how reds are. Like, I am fully logical. I'm not emotion-based. And if somebody is coming at me with all this emotion, it doesn't make sense, and I'm being calm and rational and they're still irrational, then it just has to end, because I can't be a part of it. I don't understand it. I don't understand how to fix it, and I gotta go. So I'm not a big screamer or yeller, but maybe you raise your voice, and maybe that's your part. Maybe there was a piece in there that you just got a little out of control, and you can always apologize for that. You can always say, you know what? That sucks that I did that. I did not mean to get that emotional about it. I didn't mean to respond that passionately, and I'm sorry that I raised my voice because it wasn't necessary. I could have said the exact same words without yelling or being loud or whatever the case is. Or a big one I see a lot, and this is actually one of my greatest pet peeves in life, is the eye roll. Like, there is almost nothing on the planet more condescending than when somebody rolls their eyes at you. It is so dismissive, and in a single gesture just says, like, whatever you're talking about is so stupid, I can't even be bothered with it. It's horrible. If you are an eye roller, just knock it off. It's terrible. Or maybe you walked out of the room prematurely. Maybe you and your partner are in an argument and you're like, F this, I'm out of here. And you walked out. All of these, what seem like small details, are really the things that take a simple conversation and escalate it to an argument or a fight. Or, a lot of times in recovery, we're not making amends. We are very sensitive people. We're touchy. We're defensive. We definitely can lose our temper pretty quickly because we get our feelings hurt because we're super sensitive. We already feel like crap about the things that we've done and how we've behaved and the choices we've made. We feel so crappy that if anybody says the tiniest thing to you, you can just lose your temper and freak out, right? And that's why I wanted to talk about those pieces first. Like, really be mindful of what your words are and what your behavior is and what's your body language. All of those things take a simple conversation and escalate it to an argument. So look at it. What is your part? What can you make amends for? But often, like when we talk about amends in recovery or in 12 steps for sure, oftentimes we're making amends for our actions, right? Choices we made, things we did, people we hurt, that kind of stuff. And I think one of the things to be really mindful of with this, first of all, this is a process, right? And I love it when people want to make amends, but I think it is so important to work with your sponsor to make those amends, because there is a specific way that we do it, because we don't want to cause more pain and hurt for the person we're making amends to, right? So there are things that we talk about, and there are ways that we word things to be really kind and respectful and not cause more pain. And that's where it's so important to have an outside view and talk through the amends that you want to make so that you can do it in a really good way that also lessens the burden for you as the person making amends. And I do amends sessions also. If you guys want to schedule a session with me to talk about making amends for some of your bigger stuff that you're uncomfortable with, like schedule something with me. I'm happy to help you figure this stuff out. It's not that it's hard by any means. Like figuring out what to make amends for is never hard because we usually do a lot of effed up things. We have plenty of things to make amends for. But I want you to be really mindful of how you have that conversation and just do it in a way that makes it easy for you and more comfortable for you and also doesn't hurt the other person more. Like if I cheated on my spouse and he doesn't know I cheated on him, I'm not going to go make amends to him for cheating on him, right? Because he didn't know I did it. So I'm not going to cause him all that pain for something I did however long ago it may have been. I've never cheated, by the way. I've never been a cheater, so that's not my story. I've also never been married, but but if that was the situation, I wouldn't do that, right? What we would do is make amends, a more general amends. Again, where we're not causing him more pain. We don't want to hurt people in amends. We want to bring them relief and bring ourselves relief. A lot of amends, that process is about forgiving yourself for the things that you've done, and that's really important. So, if we're doing any of these things, then we definitely need to make amends for them. We definitely need to say, I'm sorry. If I get in an argument with my partner, I can't wait to go back and say, I'm sorry. I can't wait. It is such a relief for me to just go back and say, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have said it like that. I was a jerk when I said this. It's not what I wanted to say. I didn't want to hurt your feelings. I got caught up in the moment and I'm sorry. It was crappy. I love that opportunity. Nothing honors your person more. And these actions may seem small, but they really speak volumes. I mean, volumes also about your integrity and your character. This is a true strength. Anything that most people struggle to do takes an incredible amount of strength. That's why most people don't do it, because they want to be a little bit lazy and they don't want to push themselves to be better because it's uncomfortable. So remember that this takes an enormous amount of integrity and strength to be a person that says, I'm sorry. And all of those instances can be dismissed, but that just creates more angst with you and whoever it is that you need to make amends with, right? And there's no point in that too, because when you have angst and you have situations that are unresolved, that creates resentment. And nobody wants to feel resentful. That's what kills relationships, is when we don't talk about stuff and we don't take responsibility for our part and we don't apologize when we effed something up, no matter how small it is. All of those things are their own way of disrespecting your person, whoever it is that you're having an issue with, whether it's a parent, a coworker, a boss, your spouse, regardless of who it is, your child. It doesn't matter who it is. Right? You want to take your part and be the best person that you can be and lead by example. It's so important. It's such good stuff. So if you're the person making the amends, keep it very simple. Oftentimes we want to launch into a big explanation of why we did what we did or why we felt the way we felt. Just stop. Say, I'm sorry. And leave it at that. Don't go into a big explanation. If you start getting too deep into details, it opens the door to more arguing. Because what happens is when you launch into your explanation, the person you're talking to will typically then want to launch into their explanation. And the simple fact is, you probably don't agree. And that's why you're in an argument to begin with. So you're not trying to rehash an argument. When you make amends, it's not taking an opportunity to plead your case again, right? It's taking the opportunity to move on. And that may be agreeing to disagree. And that's okay too. So So keep it simple. Don't launch into your criminal defense. It's not the time. Maybe later when you guys are calm again, maybe then you can get into a deeper conversation about what was behind everything. But certainly in the moment, same day for sure, just keep it simple. Just say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I raised my voice. I'm sorry I walked out of the room. I'm sorry I said something crappy, and just leave it at that. The moment you begin to defend your actions again, it diminishes the magic of the apology, because then you're only apologizing to have another opportunity to defend yourself. And that feels like crap for the person on the other end. An apology is about offering validation to the other person. It's not about you explaining yourself. There's just this incredible wave of relief that comes to when you say you're sorry. You get to watch your person's face relax. You get to watch their defenses drop. They usually get very appreciative because you're not launching into another attack of explanations, right? And if you're the person receiving the apology, just be quiet. It's also not the time for you to go into why you felt whatever you felt, why you did whatever you did. Just say thank you. And nothing more. I see this so often. I see couples especially, they get in this thing where he owes me an apology. And then he'll come around and say, you know what, I'm really sorry. And she wants to go, what are you sorry for? Are you sorry you did this? Are you sorry you did that? Like, it's a whole other attack. Like, if somebody says they're sorry, say thank you. It's just that simple. The truth behind successful resolution is actually hearing what the other person is saying. It's not using it as an opportunity for you to talk more and plead your case. Take a minute, be quiet, and listen to what your other person is saying, whoever it is, right? So I also want to go into just a few examples of things you can say, how to make an amends a little easier to do, right? Just keeping it super simple. You can say, I'm sorry the conversation went like that. It wasn't my intention to fight with you. And I think everybody can agree with that, right? Or if it's something that you've done, an action that you've taken that's hurt other people, you can say, I'm sorry I made that choice. I'm sorry that's what I did. It's not what I wanted to do. That's not the person I wanted to be. I didn't want to hurt you like that. I'm sorry that I did whatever it is. Another one that's really big, and I have to catch myself with this all the time. I apologize for interrupting you or talking over you. Because I will, if something hits my head, if I'm talking to one of my friends and some thought creeps into my head, like I've got to say it because now I'm old, I'm going to forget, right? Like I've got to get it out. And I do catch myself interrupting and I'm constantly going, sorry, I apologize, I interrupted you. I want to hear what you were saying. Or another one is, I'm sorry I got so upset. Because oftentimes we do get unnecessarily upset. So I'm sorry I got so upset. I really don't want to argue. I really don't want to be uncomfortable. I don't want our situation to be uncomfortable. Or I'm sorry I shut down. This is a big one. I'm sorry I shut down. That's not how I want to handle tough situations. I want to be able to get through this stuff. All of these are great little one-liners that will just open the conversation for you. So you don't have to worry. It's not about being right or wrong. You don't have to worry about this being a sign of weakness. Apologizing or accepting an apology is not saying what happened was right or wrong. It's just saying that there's some forgiveness and you want to move forward. Now, also remember, amends, the important part of amends is that we change. The important part of amends is that we actually become a different person. So keep that in mind too. Don't run around making amends to people for things that you're just going to do the same things over and over and over again. Like, save everybody's time. Save your own time and energy. Save the time and energy of your people. Like, don't even bother with it. If you're not going to put a real genuine effort into doing things differently, like, it doesn't matter if I go to you and say, I'm sorry I called you a jerk, if 24 hours later you're going to make me mad and I'm going to call you a jerk again, right? Like, I have to have some self-control in this too. And I've got to have some skin in the game. Making amends is a commitment to doing it differently, period. It's a commitment. So keep that in mind also, and really take it as an opportunity to start to modify your own behavior and look at those things that you want to do differently. And maybe when you want to lash out or you want to speak up, take the opportunity to just be quiet. One of my favorite mantras, never miss a good opportunity to just be quiet. That's a great saying to live by. So just keep all this stuff in mind, whether it's a coworker, a family member, a neighbor, a spouse. Hopefully this has been helpful, will help keep things calm and create real resolution. And that's what you actually want, right? So I hope you loved this. I hope this was good information. Thank you for bearing with me and my rant about the airline, because I'm so disappointed and I can't wait to hear you guys' experience. Like, maybe this is an isolated event and it's not happening that much. I don't know, but I can't wait to hear from you guys. And the last thing I want to say is I feel like I've done a little bit of a disservice. I need to make my own amends here, because I get a ton of messages asking about coaching with me. And what that really tells me is that I have done a terrible job telling you guys what is available for you to work with me. And I always say you can find the options at addictionunlimited.com/coaching, and everything is there. And, I'm building out a new website as well that should be done in a couple of weeks that will explain things a little bit better. But I just wanted to go through really quickly what those options are, because I have done, you guys, I am not a salesperson. I'm sure you have recognized that. It is one of my greatest challenges in business. I'm just not a salesperson. I'm not trying to sell you things. I'm not trying to get your money. So sometimes it's really hard for me to talk about the services that I offer, because I also don't want you to feel like I'm trying to sell you a bunch of stuff, At the same time, I do have to eat. And if I want to continue having a great podcast and websites and all of this stuff and providing incredible information, it does have to be paid for. So I have to get better about that, but I have done a terrible job at telling you what the options are. And a lot of people are asking about the Monday night group coaching. We do Monday night, 6 p.m. Central Time, regardless of where I am in the world. It is always 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. And you sign up on the addictionunlimited.com/coaching. You sign up for group coaching there, pick which Monday night you want to come in. The Monday afternoon before 6 p.m. Central Time, I will send you an email with an online conference room link, and you just click on that link and it takes you right into an online conference room and everybody's there. Now, space is limited every Monday. I like to keep that a small group so we all get the opportunity to really interact and connect with each other and everybody's not talking over each other. And I got to tell you guys, this is a great alternative if you don't want to go to meetings, if you're not a fan of 12-step and that kind of stuff. This is a great alternative for that, because everybody gets to really connect and I help you work through whatever things you're working through. And it's just an incredible opportunity, and it's only $100, right? Super inexpensive. And there's no commitments. You don't have to do it if you don't want to do it. You can sign up whenever you want to and not whenever you don't. And then, of course, you can work with me individually, and a session with me is typically an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and a half. I do not do standard hour sessions because I don't think it's typically long enough. So those sessions are a little bit longer. And after that individual session, you get a full week of follow-up with me. So anything we talked about on that call, and it is literally just a phone call. I just call you at the scheduled time and we talk through whatever you need to talk through, and you have a full week of follow-up. So any strategies we talked about, you've got some accountability. I will follow up with you. I'll give you different tips and tricks and things like that to implement to make things easier depending on whatever your situation is. And then you guys hear me talk about my Recovery 2K program. It's 2K. It is 30 days pretty intensive work with me, daily contact. We're working again, pretty intense, really getting through things and getting you through that 30 days, staying sober, getting some coping skills, really setting up your life to support ongoing sobriety. And that program's actually really fun. And when you do the Recovery 2K, you actually get the Monday night group coaching too. Like I just threw that in kind of as a bonus. So those are the options in a nutshell. Again, on the website, addictionunlimited.com/coaching, you can find more information about those things. But I just feel really bad that I haven't explained that stuff better, because I think everybody's kind of in the dark as to what's going on, because I'm so scared to, to make you feel like I'm trying to sell you something. So I've got to be better about that. But anyway, that's everything I've got for this week. I hope you guys are having a fantastic week. If you need anything from me, you know how to find me. I will put all the regular links in the show notes. I'll put the link to the coaching page. If you want to work with me, please do. We have a great time. We get a lot of good work done, a lot of support. You will definitely feel better immediately. Everybody says that at the end of their call. They feel so much better. So definitely sign up for that. And we've got a great episode coming next week. Lance from Evolve Breathworks. I think you guys will really enjoy that. Lance has a great story. So we're going to hear from him next week. And you guys know where to find me if you need anything. Have a great day, you guys. I'll talk to you next week.
You've reached the end of another great episode of the Addiction Unlimited podcast. Candid and honest conversation about addiction and recovery. Be sure to visit us at addictionunlimited.com to join the conversation and access show notes and links to everything we talked about. Love this episode? Please take 30 seconds to subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes to help us improve and give you the information you want. Thanks for listening. See you next week.